again, we've talked about this a little bit, but maybe it's worth just touching on. Nolan asks, mixing discography versus degrees as someone looking to get assistant work. Is there a benefit to beginning your career freelance rather than as an assistant? Those are sort of two different questions, and he did ask them separately. I think our collective opinion, we've talked about this a bit before, is that you're really going to get work, whether it's assistant work or whether it's mix work or whatever, by doing great work for people, by people talking about your work, by people hearing your work and then talking about you, doing great work. But honestly, that's how I got in with Eric Valentine. Is I produced this band, The Matches, in the Bay Area, and someone had sent him the album because they were like, this is a great local Bay Area band, you should check this out. And he met with them and they took me to the meeting, and I just basically bothered him for 6 months until he hired me as an assistant. But it's because he liked a record that I made. I think by and large, that's going to be how you're going to get work. Certainly, there are people, including John, including others, that have done recording schools and degrees, but very few people, I think, doing this kind of work. No. Again, there may be more sort of like house engineer or film and TV stuff or other parts of other ways to do engineering or music things that are not the things that we do. But for us, the degree does not matter in terms of putting it on a resume. It matters much more. Do you do good things, and do people say good things about you? Do you make good work? So that's really...
I prefer you to not have a degree, personally, in my opinion. Tony heard something I did and thought that I should work with him. He just heard an EP.
Yeah, and you've said this before. There is an aspect of, especially from the assistant role, specifically being an assistant, that if you are overtrained and know too much stuff, that may not work with the flow of the person you're assisting. A lot of times people who are looking for assistance, including you, John, who talked about this before, you like to have someone who is ambitious and well-liked and willing to work hard, but that doesn't have a particular way they already do things and they're overtrained in some aspects. So you can go, here's my flow, learn my flow, and then go do your thing a couple years later.
Yeah, my first prerequisite to an assistant or to anybody that's going to be in my company while I mix a record, anybody I'm mentoring, is being non-judgmental, right? Like, I think that's the only thing I care about, is someone that sits on the sofa and I'm very comfortable around to be me, do my weird moves, put the screen to sleep, and listen, and not feel like, oh, he should be doing this right now. He should be doing that right now. Why didn't he do that yet? It's like, I know that thing is there. I know the problem into the second chorus is there. I'm just not ready to address it yet. I don't have to address it yet. Like, I already know what I need to address, like, by the first listen most of the time. So I want someone not judgmental that sits there. And I think that if there's anything to learn from a question like that, resume, or, what your things sound like, who are you? How do you hang? Like, how, I might have said this in an earlier episode, but Josh, who works with me now, first thing I did was bring him to, since closed from the pandemic, but one of my favorite restaurants in downtown LA, which is called Little Sister. And I just wanted to see if he could hang and eat Southeast Asian food. I was just like, I want to know does he fuck with this or not? And for first bite, he was just like, what the fuck am I eating? Like, I just saw his enthusiasm. I was like, that's my guy. Like, it's just, that's all I needed. He did go to Berkeley, and I have to say that, like, he's the first assistant I've had that has gone to school for audio engineering, and it hasn't been an issue at all. But I could imagine it being with someone that's a little bit more sure of themselves, at that position.
Yeah, I think going to school
He just joined. Wait, that's funny. He just joined the chat, and he's sitting behind me.
That's so funny. So I think there's nothing wrong if you have the money. I mean, you can definitely go into a lot of debt doing school, but if you have the money or have some ability to go get trained, there's not necessarily anything wrong with it.
I have a hard line on that. I wouldn't.
Yeah, it doesn't seem necessary for a lot of people.
Unless your social skills need a ton of work. Oh, well, you're right. Yeah, you don't have a degree. Sick. I love that. I thought so. I didn't know I was about to say that, but I didn't know, Josh. Yeah. So I don't know. I wouldn't spend the money on that. I'd buy we've talked about this. I would invest in good monitors. If you're, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. If your social skills don't need work, if your social skills need work, I think school is good for that. To be fair, there's probably a lot more that you can learn from in school, but I don't think it's worth the money at this point. I think that we should find statistics of to have this conversation properly of how many placements from schools like into the care of a mentorship or working studio there are versus people that have done it on their own without school. Like I would actually wonder.
Yeah, and one of the things, again, as we talk about a lot, we're trying to do is provide some amount of and provide encouragement and provide some amount of wisdom and knowledge by doing these things, and also encouraging people like, you've got YouTube, you got these streams, you've got lots and lots and lots and lots of free resources. And the truth is, whether you go to school or not, the thing that determines your success is how much you want to do this thing when no one is structuring your time or telling you what to do. That's the determining factor. If you are in school, or if you never go to any school, if you spend your late nights occasionally or a lot avoiding hanging out with your friends because you're obsessed with this new reverb plugin that you found for free somewhere, like those are the people that win. And as we talked about before, I don't recommend that because it's an insane life, but those of us that are that insane, they're saying on the chat there, Hendrik, the knowledge is available online. Like it's there for you to learn. And it's not to say that mentorship and one-on-one stuff isn't important. We obviously talk about assistance and talking about things like that, but there's so much available knowledge out there that you just go get that shit.
Thanks for watching. Just a reminder, all of this content is free. There's no secret knowledge here. There's no Patreon. We don't read ads. We don't have sponsors. We're just trying to build a knowledge base. All that we ask in return is that you share it with somebody. Thanks so much.